You know, the Detroit Lions had such a unique draft last year where everyone kind of talks about the first round and what, did it end up, really the Gibbs pick. Like, that's the one that gets all the attention. I feel like we don't really talk enough. We talk about it a bit, but we don't really talk enough about how amazing their round two was, getting Brian Branch and Sam Laporta. I'm going to make a video on Sam Laporta that'll either be out as before this video is posted or shortly after this video is posted. But I want to make a Brian Branch video as well. I didn't really get why he fell in the draft. I didn't understand that. I was kind of pounding the table saying this guy is better than people realize. He ended up falling in the draft. But then he's just been a great player for the Lions. And sometimes we overthink this stuff. Sometimes we go out and, we're like, oh, well, there's this issue and this little concern. It's like, sometimes just draft a good football player. It was the Antoine Winfield thing with Tampa Bay, right? It's like, sure, there's some, for him, there were some size concerns and things like that. Well, he's also a good player. Maybe just get the good player. Branch is a little bigger than Winfield, but definitely still had some of that. And it's like, oh, well, he's a safety / corner hybrid. Like, how valuable is that? Well, I think the Lions feel he's pretty valuable to their roster. So let's get into the film and talk about really the kind of star-making plays that he's been able to have for the Detroit Lions. I think when talking about Branch, you have to start off here with his last season, which was the Detroit Lions Kansas City Chiefs game, which this would actually end up being a sign of things to come for Kansas City, kind of being in a more low-scoring game where they, they have to be a bit more methodical. That's very much not the kind of game the Lions played a lot of last year, but this was a huge moment in the Lions season, I think. Going up against the reigning champs, you see this route, which, the corner who's covering this route is not Brian Branch. This is someone else. When Mahomes takes the snap, he looks over, fires over, and on a 3rd down and 6, if Tony can make the catch and run after the catch, they maybe have a chance at the first down. I don't know. But the thing is, it's Kadarius Toney, so he's obviously not going to catch it. But also, look right over there. That is where Brian Branch is. And it's the kind of thing where, I think that I hope at least, that us here, you watch this video, me recording this video, are smart enough football fans to understand there is an element of flukiness and luck in football. Sometimes a pass gets tipped and then intercepted in return for a touchdown, and it's like, okay, that's probably, if these teams played each other 100 times, only going to happen in like 2 or 3 of them. But you know how you make sure that those things happen more often for you than against you? Put yourself in position for them to happen. Brian Branch is aggressively running in, probably in part just to try to make a tackle on the 3rd down and 6, but still, it's this hustle that can lead to this play. Tony drops the pass, but Branch is able to have the awareness to kind of stop, make the catch. He returns it for a touchdown. That tied the game at 14-14. I guess technically it made it 13-14, and then the extra point tied the game. And I think the Lions, when they would eventually go on to win this game, this really set the tone for what they could do this season, was they could, hang with anybody. And moving on to future plays, Brian Branch quickly showed that was not a fluke. Something like this, where you see the concept that Seattle is going to be running. It's going to be, those kind of underneath routes, or not underneath routes, but the shorter routes are the ones that the quarterback is going to look towards. It's a 3rd down and 2. And that is where Branch is. So he's covering kind of the second guy there. That's how this play works. And well, when it begins, Branch, hey, doing his job. The guy he's supposed to be covering is covered. Like, well done. But the Seahawks kind of knew that would probably happen. It's really the 3rd guy closest towards the sideline at the start of that play. That's where they're wanting to look towards. Him, Tyler Lockett. That's the situation. Okay, reasonable. That's a good job by Seattle. Branch did everything he can do, but how's it go? What can you do? Well, when this throw pulls Tyler Lockett a bit behind the first down marker, Branch rushes over, gets that immediate tackle, and they do not pick up a first down on that play. Great stuff there from Brian Branch. I mean, that's a high level play that he's making in his 2nd NFL game. I think going over here, this is a lot more of what he was able to do at a high level, which just kind of be like a solid, like, lockdown slot corner was something that we saw happen a lot more. Again, 3rd down and 14, but the Atlanta Falcons are in kind of long field goal range, so they're going to look for, something like this, maybe over the middle type route. when it begins, I mean, it's worth mentioning, this is Drake London. So while, yes, it is, he's in the slot on this play, it's not exactly like you're getting the easy matchups. Traditionally, the slot corner would get the easiest matchups, which is why it's not always the most respected position. But in today's NFL, I mean, star players play in the slot all the time. Like Cooper Kupp's one of the best players in football. He's a slot guy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best receivers in football. He's does a lot of work out of the slot. But here you see Branch, creating contact to slow down Drake London. But, hey, it's Drake London. Desmond Ridder's going to throw it there anyway. However, Branch is able to reach out and knock that ball away. Really good job by Brian Branch to kind of, do that. And this is just what he did really consistently for the Detroit Lions. And also in stuff like this, where it's going to be zone coverage, and you see the zone and the route that could be you see the route that could be an issue, and you see the zone that Branch is going to cover. The zone that Branch is going to cover is the one in white. That's white circle over there. And then there's a route that's going to be a little bit past it. But again, watch Branch, once he realizes this isn't a run, watch him hustle to get over there and has essentially made this a really tough throw. It's one of those, again, I guess I'll throw it there type plays for Desmond Ridder, although maybe he shouldn't, but, Desmond Ridder made a lot of throws that maybe he shouldn't have last season. But still, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, you have a tall receiver. It's Branch, who we just talked about, isn't the tallest guy. I mean, it's Kyle Pitts versus Brian Branch. Throw up a jump ball. It kind of makes some sense, even if there isn't a ton of separation. But Branch is also able to get up and knock that one away. So really good job by Brian Branch to, knock the ball away and also to get over in position to make the play. These are just the kind of things that Branch was consistently doing last year for the Detroit Lions. And of course, his run defense was really good as well. Something like this, the way the play is designed to work is multiple Atlanta players kind of start off blocking the edge rusher for Detroit. One of them gets up to block Brian Branch. Branch is the one who I've circled in white, but just watch Branch. He's essentially just going to almost, I don't know if it's a guess or if he read something, but he's immediately there to make that tackle. No way they could get off the double team block to block Branch because he just came in right away to make that play. And I'm assuming he knew something as opposed to just guessed, because it does feel like with him, it's not like I see him constantly guessing and getting it wrong. Usually it's only when he's doing it right. And then it also just stuff like this, where it's going to be a wide receiver screen type play on this one. And so, okay, well, where's Branch here? That's where Branch is. And I called it a wide receiver screen. It's Kyle Pitts running the route, but it's whatever. Tight end screen. It's really a wide receiver screen play, just with a tight end. But anyway, watch Branch here. When this play begins, you see a wide receiver for the Falcons goes out to block him, and you could say bad job by the wide receiver if you want, but again, it's Brian Branch. He's being able to do this to players. He gets around him, is in this spot right here, but the play is certainly not over. You still have to make the tackle. However, that's going to be also what Brian Branch does, is able to make that tackle. It's a big loss right there. So again, his ability to make the consistent plays, consistently play well, but then also be able to make splash plays at the end of it. It's a rare combination you don't find too often, and he's been, I certainly think he has all-pro potential. Who knows how it'll go. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Branch. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.